Let's see how to code a chain of responsibility design pattern example here. And we're going to have 3 links in this chain of responsibility example. It's going to be an example where the links will provide help upon request. So if you make a help request and the first link can handle the help request, it's going to display help. If it cannot handle the help request, it's going to pass on that request to the second link in the chain, which will display help. And if that link cannot handle the help request, it'll pass it on to the third link in the chain as well, and that link will display its help. So to make sure all the links interface well with each other and implement a method we're going to call getHelp, we're going to create an interface called help interface. This help interface is going to be implemented by all the links in the chain, so all links in the chain will implement this getHelp method, and this getHelp method is going to be passed a help constant. So when you want help, you call getHelp for the first link in the chain, passing a help constant. If the first link in the chain can handle the help request, it will do so, and if not, it will pass on the help request to the next link in the chain, and so forth. So getHelp is the method you call in order to get help from the links in the chain. You call it on the first link, and if that link can't handle the request, we'll move on to the next one, and so forth. So here is the first link in the chain called front end. This is the first link in the chain. Front end is more or less a random name. It implements the help interface though. And in the constructor, you pass the constructor of front end a help interface object S, which is the next link in the chain, the successor in the chain. So this means that front end knows which object to call next if it cannot handle the help request. It stores that object, the help interface object, as the object named successor. So when you create a front end object, you pass its constructor the next link in the chain, which it stores as that successor object. Okay, so now you've got to implement the getHelp method. That is passed a help constant. In this case, for the front end help request, the constant will be it'll define an internal constant called front end help set to 1, and it checks the past help constant to its front end help constant, and it sees whether or not that's the same. If it is the same, then it can handle the request, the help request. If it's not the same, it will call the successor's getHelp method and pass it the help constant, as you see here. So if the help constant that's been passed in the getHelp method is not the same as the one it can handle, this is the one it can handle, it will pass on the request to the successor's getHelp method, passing the help request constant like that. Otherwise, it will print out a message saying that it's handled the help request. So that's the first link in the chain, front end. The next link in the chain will be called intermediate layer, again a sort of random name, and it implements help interface. The intermediate layer help constant is 2. So if in the getHelp method you pass a constant of 2, then the intermediate layer will be able to handle the request, as you see here. And if help constant passed is not equal to intermediate layer help, then control is once again passed on to the successor's getHelp method, and the help constant is passed on, as you see here. Otherwise, the intermediate layer can handle the request for help, and it prints out a message, as you see here. Finally, the application layer. This is the layer where the buck stops, and it implements help interface as well. The getHelp method here takes a help constant, but if the help request has reached this point, we're going to handle it no matter what. And so we just print out, this is the MegaGigaCo application. There's some phony name there. And so that is the third link in the chain, the so-called application link. Those are just random names, application, front end, intermediate layer, just different names for the various links inside the chain of responsibility chain. So you see how it works in the intermediate layer. The getHelp method is called with a help constant. And if that help constant is not equal to the help constant that the intermediate layer can handle, the successor's getHelp method is called, passing that help constant along. Otherwise, a message is displayed saying this is the intermediate layer and indicating that the intermediate layer was able to handle the request, the help request, without passing it on to the next layer in the chain, next link in the chain. So next, let's put this to work and see how it actually does function.